Hi guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I am going to be showing you a cool project using pastels and a texture stamp. So I'm going to be using Helen Breil's Congo line texture stamp, and I have already done a review on this texture stamp, so be sure to check that out. I'll include it in the links below for you to check out. Basically in the review I said that this brand of texture stamp is best for mixed media, and so I thought that would be what our technique would be. So I'm just going to lightly spray this texture stamp, and I'm going to bring over some white Polymer, and I'm going to place it in the texture stamp, lightly spray a top to prevent it sticking to my fingers, and then work it in just like you would any other texture stamp. And I like to use my fingers to press it in before I use an acrylic roller, because I just find that I get a more even and deep texture that way. So you'll start from one end and work your way up to the other end, because you don't want air bubbles to be getting trapped. So if you were to go all over the place, you'd find that you'd have areas where you trap air bubbles and water, and then your stamped image could look a little bit distorted. So go from one end to the other. Now this doesn't take too long, almost done. And you can see the clay is stretching a little bit, so I like to put it a little bit further down than I want, so that as the clay stretches I don't go over the lip of the design. There we are. Now I'll just have a quick roll with my acrylic roller. Now watch for any lift ups. If you see your clay lifting up during this process, like that, stop rolling, otherwise you'll get a ghost image. So I move that out the way, and you can see how beautiful and detailed that texture is. And so now we want to dry that and the tile. There you go. Now we are ready to use it. Okay, and that looks a little bit bright for you guys. I'll just quickly change that for you. Okay, so now I'm going to bring over my pastels, and I like to use these ones, and you can get them off Amazon. So there you can see what they look like. And so I'll open that up, and it just gives you a whole bunch of different pastels to work with. And here I'll show you what they look like now. So you can see there's a whole bunch of different pastels in there. So they're little bits, but they go a long way. Okay, so we're going to be working, I think we're going to be working in the bluish greenish tone. So I'm going to show you which ones I select quickly, so you can. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to be using this one, and the more hues you have, the better. I find that it just looks better that way. Okay, and I'm going to be working with some of the blues as well. So I'm basically just going to take out this section. Don't think I'm going to work with that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I might use some others, but if I do, I'll just come and show you which ones I'm using. But there you are, that's basically what I'm going to be using. Just going to move you a little bit forward. Okay. So then you're going to bring over some sort of either tissue blade or craft knife. I'm going to be using this craft knife. And I'm just going to take a little bit, and I'm gently going to shave it over the surface. And now what I like to do is I like to shave all the colours at one time in a line, so that when I brush it on, it kind of all intermingles together to create almost like a skinner blend. And it doesn't take a lot. So you can see I'm not really shaving off a lot. And the colours don't even have to be similar together, they'll blend together just fine. Okay, there we are, we're basically finished. And last little bit. Okay, then you want to bring over a brush, and I'm going to use this nice broad brush, and I'm just going to start actually tapping it. Just to get the pastels down just a tad, because I don't want them blowing all over the place, and then I can brush them into the individual areas that I want them. There we go. Okay, then I'm just going to brush that off because I don't want too much contamination, and then I'm just going to brush across like this. Okay, and then I don't mind right now if we get a little bit of green on this side and a little bit of blue on that side. Just want to get all of those pastels all stuck down. Also going to pick up these little bits that are left over here. I'm just going to brush them into one area. There we go. Okay, and so I can see that I'm going to need a little bit more. So I'm just going to arbitrarily, basically, pop some of the pastels back on. And basically I'm just going to keep the blues on this side and the greens on that side. But I'm not worrying about whether I'm putting the blues in the same area that it was before. Okay, and then I'll dab it down, because I want to get rid of any white spots. And there we go. So that's looking better, and we'll do the same on this side. And basically it's about working in multi-layered effects. The more layers of pastel in different areas you have, the better. So don't be afraid to work with a bunch of pastel and have it cross over in different areas, because it will look nice. So there we are, we've got rid of most of the white areas. I'm not going to worry about getting rid of all of the white areas. Then I'm just going to brush up all of this pastel that's left into this one area, pick that up on my brush, sprinkle it around over here, and then try to use that to cover up any areas that we've missed, because we don't want to waste pastel. There we go. And I brush this out the way because I don't want any excess bits getting on. And so give your sheet a good brush off, and your tile. Because you want to get rid of any little bits of pastel left. Okay, and so you can see that's looking really nice at the moment. Now we're going to bring over some white Americana paint. And now I'm going to be using this paint because it crackles slightly. Any paint that crackles will work. Give it a good shake. And I'm going to be using white. I'm just going to dab a little bit onto my tile, not too much. And then make sure that your fingers are fairly clean. Gently pick it up a little bit, and you only want just a tad on the bottom of your finger. So I'm just going to get rid of that, and then you're lightly going to brush that over the surface. And now don't worry about getting an even white colour, you just want it to look different from the background. And there, that's going to give it a really cool look. And just put a little bit of paint on your finger at a time, because you don't want it to be getting in the cracks. If it gets down into the indented areas, don't stress, because it will happen occasionally, but if you can avoid it, that's best. And so I'll go over this a few times to make sure that I get enough definition between my top area and my bottom area. But basically that's what I'm going to do across the entire sheet until I'm happy with it. Okay, so there we are. I'm really happy with how that looks. So now I'm just going to gently go over and check that it's dried. Because it needs to be dry before we do the next bit. Nothing came off. Then I'll bring over my acrylic roller. And I'm gently going to start flattening it. And now you want to go in all directions. Don't just go in one direction with your roller, because you want this pattern to flatten out evenly. And don't press hard. I'm pressing very lightly on my roller to make sure that I don't overdo it. You want to flatten it out very slowly, and that will just make sure that it looks the best after you're done. So we're almost done. Really happy with how it's looking so far. There we are. Now if you wanted to know where you can get the Helen Breil texture stamps, you can get them off of Linda's Art Spot, and I'll provide a link to where you can get them in the links below. She has a whole bunch of Helen Breil's texture stamps on there. She also has a bunch of Helen Breil's silk screens and a bunch of other textures and silk screens that I'm sure you guys will want to check out. It's not too expensive. She has a bunch of exotic things on there, such as eraser clay, and she has a bunch of different alcohol inks and all sorts of things that are quite hard to find, so be sure to check that out. It's quite a cool shop. Okay, there we are. Now I'll bring over my tissue blade, and I'm just going to feel this. It's pretty flat. I'm just going to bring this over and pick it up carefully. Now I want to bring this up, and hopefully you can see. I'm not sure if the camera's going to be able to pick it up, but there are minute cracks where we put the paint. What we're going to do is we're just going to take our texture, or basically our sheet of clay now, and we're just gently going to stretch it just to encourage that paint to crack a little bit more. Because we want that effect, it will look really nice. So just try to reduce it so that you don't get distortion in the pattern. You just want to reduce it enough. Well, not really reduce it, you just want to stretch it enough that you get the paint to crackle. So I'll stick down one end and stretch. Stick down that end and stretch. Oh gosh, it's gone light for you guys. And let me just fix that up for you. There. Camera does weird things sometimes. There, I hope you can pick up what's happening on the camera. I'm just basically stretching it. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll bring over our acrylic roller and flatten it out again. And so we've got some areas where the white has become exposed again because it cracked, which is great. So I just want to run this flat. There we are, basically flat now. Got that little. Okay, and just run your finger over it just to make sure that you've got everything flat. Okay, and that's what it looks like. So I'll just bring over my acrylic, well, no, my tissue blade. Pick that up, and I'll bring it up so you can see. And hopefully it's going to be able to pick up the fact that that paint has crackled a little bit. So I'll just bring that lighting up for you. There we go. So hopefully you can see that it's crackled just a little bit. It looks really nice. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, and so that's basically the technique that I've shown today, and this is just the first part in a series of which we are going to use this texture sheet now to create a bracelet. And so that will be the next part in this tutorial, so you guys have to hang around to get that bit. So there we are, just checking to make sure that's completely flat. And so that is the first part of the tutorial. We'll use that to make a bangle bracelet in the next part, so be sure to hang around for that, as that will be coming up in the coming weeks. And so I do hope this tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please do let me know, and be sure to check the links below, as there'll be a link to where you can buy Helen Breil's texture sheet. There'll also be a link to my website, jessamaTutorials.com, down there, where you can send in pictures of what you've done, and there's a bunch of articles and places where you can send in pictures, as I said before. And you can also get early access to all of these tutorials on the website, as they're posted about a week early before they are posted on YouTube. So be sure to check that out so you can get them early before they're released on YouTube. And as always, I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.